Welcome, Panthers Nation. Keep pounding, as you guys like to say there in Carolina. Crazy. This is what you've been waiting for. A TikTok that got 12,600 views, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that.
Tons of bookmarks, tons of saves. That, of course, was posted by Panthers fan pages, and so that content has also gotten a ton of likes and a ton of dislikes for sure. We welcome you to Technical Foul. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for clicking on this video. While you're here, like and subscribe. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Go ahead and do it. It doesn't hurt you. You can see me give more bad takes in the future and continue to hate on me if you do so. For backstory, for those of you that don't really understand what's going on, this is in a TikTok that we posted here on the Technical Foul TikTok page, of course, that was filmed before the preseason in the NFL when Sanders, Jack, and I did a breakdown of the NFC South, previewing the season, previewing the Carolina Panthers. We selected me to do the TikTok for the Carolina Panthers as the prediction, I guess, for the page. This is my prediction, I will say. This is all of me. These were my words. These are things that I truly believed. You can also go watch the YouTube video on our prediction on the entire Panthers, and I reiterate a lot of the stuff I say in this TikTok. But for context, here is the TikTok. The Carolina Panthers are candidates to go 0-17 next season. I have them personally going 2-15 because even the bad NFL teams can win games. Bryce Young was playing well last season, but this is one of the worst rosters in the league, if not the worst. Defensively, they're going to rely heavily on rookies. Nick Scorton and Princely are going to be edge rushers that have to play big for them. Ted McMillan had big questions of, is he even a number one receiver? And he's going to be forced to be the number one receiver for the Panthers next season. The schedule does not play out easy for them. They have to play teams like Buffalo, Green Bay. This is just, it's not an easy schedule for the Panthers whatsoever. I have them winning 2 games early, Atlanta and Miami. But from there, I don't see them winning another game. Their Vegas win total is 6.5. One of my favorite bets of this season is going to be Panthers under 6.5. The roster is just not there. Think of the roster, and outside of Derek Brown, name one guy who's top 10 in their position in the NFL. Even name one guy that you love on this team. There really isn't any of them there. And I see the Panthers as a potential case for 0-17. Will they do that? No, because even NFL teams that are really bad win games, but there's a potential for that to happen. We welcome you back after you've just watched that. Of course, lots of thoughts come from that, a lot of things that stick out that you would like to respond to, of course. But for starters, before I get into what has transpired since then, how I feel right now, and then ultimately what you guys might be looking for, an apology, I would like to give context on what I had, the information I had in front of me that led me to have that opinion. And we'll start with what the Carolina Panthers were. For an offseason context, they were 5-12 the year prior. Their Vegas win total was 6.5. Bryce Young had got benched for Andy Dalton. And this was Bryce Young in his first 18 starts and his last 10 starts. He was, in his first 18, he was 2-16. He had a 70 passer rating. He had 11 touchdowns to 13 interception, and he threw for 173 yards per game. But post Andy Dalton benching in his last 10 starts, he had a 4-6 record. He had an 89 passer rating, 15 touchdowns, 6 picks. He got up to 210 passing yards per game. So there was a little bit of promise there. But for the most part, I looked at his record in the past, 2-16. I looked at his stats there, and I thought that was more so the Bryce Young that we were getting as opposed to what we were getting at the end of the last season. And then the big one for me is what the Carolina Panthers as a whole organization and team were. They were really, really bad in 2024, both offensively and defensively. Offensively, they were sitting in the 20s and everything, points per game, yards per game, third down conversion percentage, red zone scoring percentage. And then defensively, they were the worst defense in the NFL, and not just the worst defense in the NFL. They were historically bad. They allowed the most rushing yards per game since 1978 coming into the season. And so you'll say, okay, well, how do they change that? By adding players and letting players go. And we'll go ahead and show you their additions, both through the draft and their offseason losses. And those were their additions. They had added Rico Dowdle, who was a part of one of the worst rushing offenses in the league. He got up to 1,000 yards. I give him credit, but everyone has to get numbers for some team. And he was in large part viewed as the worst rushing attack in the NFL, worst rushing backfield in the NFL. They added Trevon Moehrig from the Raiders, who was a starter, Bobby Brown from the Rams, and Patrick Jones from the Vikings, who actually had a good season getting to the quarterback. In the draft, they added Tet McMillan. Tet is a star right now. I think he's going to be really, really good, and he has some highlight plays, and I love how he's playing in Carolina. But you can't convince me that coming into the season, you thought Tet was a foregone conclusion, that he was going to be a star, that he was going to be elite. There were questions around him for a reason. He was not a guaranteed true number one. Then you added Nick Scorton from Texas A&M, Trevor Etienne from Florida via Georgia, and then Princely Umanuelen from Ole Piss, the school up north. We're a state podcast for context. We hate Ole Piss. Those were the additions through the draft and through free agency. And I personally don't believe that you would look at those additions and say, oh, that's going to improve the defense and the offense dramatically, a historically bad defense. And so that is why I felt that the Panthers were 0-17 candidates, because I hated their roster. I hated their rosters compared to the teams that they were going to play. I did not think the Dolphins were going to be a dumpster fire. I thought they were going to be bad, but not a dumpster fire. I did not think the Jets were going to be a dumpster fire. I thought they were going to be bad, but not a dumpster fire. And again, of course, as a Saints fan, I thought we were going to be good, but you can't blame me for that. You thought your own damn team was going to be good too. And these were the stats you had to go off of. So, the biggest claims, pushbacks from Panthers fans from that TikTok. 1, Saints fan, LOL. Oh, of course he's a Saints fan. Oh, look at this, bro. He's a Saints fan. He can't talk. All of that. I present you with an attempt to rage bait you 2 photos. Cam Newton failing to dive on the football, and Drew Brees hosting a Lombardi trophy. And while you're typing the message that you're typing, which is, oh, you can't say that. That was X amount of years ago. That was X amount of years ago. You weren't alive for that. I was for both of those. I hosted a Super Bowl party in my house for both of those. You can't do that, because we do the exact same thing to our division rival, the Atlanta Falcons, with 28-3. We do that. Every time they say anything, we put 28-3 in that comment section. You know you do. We all do. It's hilarious. So I am allowed to do this. Where's your Lombardi trophy? Should have dove on the ball, Cam. The second pushback that came from that, which is a wild one, that even our crew members, not our crew members, other co-hosts.
Yeah, wow. All right, he just really put himself up there.
Sanders and Jack would even agree on that Chuba Hubbard was a superstar, that he was one of those top 10 players in the NFL. By the way, he was benched for Rico Dowdle. Like, come on, bro. He was benched for Rico Dowdle. Now, Rico Dowdle's cooking, and I give him a ton of credit for that. But if you would like to show me the receipt of you predicting Rico Dowdle to be third in rushing yards with only 3 starts at this point in the NFL season, please show me that. And then I would like to get in contact with you, because I could use you as a semi-professional gambler. What a call from you. The third one is, in large part, different ways of being put. You don't know ball is part of it, but you're a dumbass. And look, I'd love to respond to that in a very egotistical way, bring up receipts that would hold no meaning to you, but it's impossible to respond to that while still being humble. So I'll just say I completely disagree with you. I am not a dumbass. Thank you.
Well said.
So, given the Panthers start at 5-4, what can we actually take from what has transpired? And I guess you probably feel at this point that we're just yapping. We can take these things. Bryce Young is not the answer at quarterback. And the 8 or more games that he's played, and this is among NFL quarterbacks that have played and started 8 or more games, he is 18th in passing touchdowns. He is 16th in completion percentage. He has the 5th most interceptions, and he's 23rd in passing yards per game. He's thrown for more than 200 yards just once this entire season. Compare that to my quarterback, Spencer Rattler, who got benched for Tyler Shuck, who also started 8 games. Spencer Rattler is 22nd in passing touchdowns, 3 behind Bryce Young. You win. He's 8th in completion percentage versus 16th. He's 11th in interceptions versus 5th. And he's 20th in passing yards versus 23rd. Not a big difference. It's 25 more per game. Spencer Rattler has thrown for 200 yards plus 6 times this season. And again, he's not the starting quarterback anymore. Bryce Young is not the answer at quarterback. We can take that from even a 5-4 record where he is at 4-0 his last 4 starts. Carolina's O-line has been for real. I give them credit for that. You don't lead the, you aren't elite in rushing as they have been over these past few weeks without an incredible offensive line, but they haven't been great in the passing game, so it's not a top 10 offensive line like people were saying. They're 14th in quarterback sacks this year, and Bryce is not a big scrambler, so they're getting after Bryce still. I give a ton of credit, again, to the rushing game, but you're also second in the league in attempts per game with 30. You're going to run for a lot of yards if you're going to run the ball a lot. So credit to you there, I guess. But Carolina has 5 wins. 2 I give immense credit for. Winning at Lambeau, no matter how it happened, a win is a win is a win. And blowing out Atlanta. But are we going to treat the Cowboys win, the Jets win, and the Dolphins win as proof that this team is good? Wins by 1 score in all 3 of them. If you want to do that, by all means, go ahead. I think you're crazy. I think you're a dumbass. I also would ask, where was this reaction from your entire fan base? Where was this repost? Where were these retweets? Where were these comments? Where were these people that came in our YouTube live stream and talked to us? Where were these people in our TikTok comments last week when you got blasted by Buffalo 40-9? Where were these when you started the season? What was it, 1-3?
1-3.
Where were you? It's very easy to talk in hindsight. It's very easy to talk when you get the big one. It's really hard to predict something when nothing has been proven yet. If you can show us receipts again that y'all are going to be elite like you are talking at this point, by all means, go ahead. And that leads us to finally the New Orleans Saints and the Carolina Panthers, who dat versus keep pounding, this Sunday in Carolina. Ironically, we get to face off this week, and I actually love to see that because for me, it's a win-win. For you guys, it's a win-loss, as every game is. Excuse me. If the Panthers win, everyone's going to return to the show. Everyone's going to come into our comment section. They're going to respond to our tweets. They're going to probably go into our Saints TikTok as well on Sunday, on Tuesday. And y'all are welcome to give us more crap. But for me, it's a win because the Saints get that much closer to drafting an actual quarterback, which y'all don't have one. By the way, he was the number 1 overall pick. Why do you put up with one game over 200 passing yards? Why do you put up with a game with 102 passing yards? Diabolical. If the Saints win this weekend, I expect everyone to be here again watching our video, potentially again in our live stream, and I will expect and I will accept as well hand-typed apologies. No AI, no ChatGPT, No Gemini. I want real apologies. If I put it in an AI generator and it's AI, I'll crap on you even more. But if you apologize, I will spare you from what I will do if the Saints win in your comment sections. And the show will explode and we'll have an all-time moment, and it'll be great for the show. So if the Saints win, it's awesome. Tyler Shuck in his second start beat y'all. Like, come on, bro. All of that being said, I still could be right. Their win total to end this year right now sits at 8.5, and they're favored to go under 8.5 wins, and that's with 5 wins already. But for finally what y'all have been waiting for, I would like to sincerely apologize for what I thought the Carolina Panthers were going to do this year. And the best way I thought that was possible was by showing you the cold, hard cash that I worked for, that I lost, that I essentially made donations to FanDuel with these slips, and feel free to screenshot, laugh at, whatever. I'm a semi-professional. I've made money gambling. You probably haven't. If you need help, seek help. Don't lose everything you have. Obviously, don't make donations like I did, because I did that by putting $50 on the Saints to win the division, putting $50 on the Panthers to go under 3.5 wins, and putting $50 on the Saints to go over 5.5 wins. And for that reason, I am sorry. Thank you. Who dat?